Just this very simple story of these guys who have a job, and it just so happens on this day their job requires them to go out into the belly of the beast, and that they encountered such danger, and yet in the years afterwards, talking about the story and listening to what Bernie had to say about it, you could tell that it wasn't done for glory, and there wasn't any self-aggrandizing vibe to it. It was just men doing their job. And I appreciated, again, the simplicity of the men and the story. There are no great effects. There's no monsters. It's just men against the ocean. He's a man from a different time. He's not, I think he's very nervous, especially when he meets Miriam early on, that he's not the smartest guy, and he wishes he were smart because she went to college, and he's a very blue-collar kind of man. But I appreciate his sweetness, that he says what he means, and you look at him and you can kind of read exactly what the man's thinking. He loves the woman he's with. He loves his job. He wants to do well in his job. He does his job. He goes back to the woman he loves, and you can imagine at the end of the film that they, make a beautiful family and live happily ever after, which from all I can gather is what they did. So that is what I liked. And again, the spirit of the film is something that is, it's a film from a different era. It's a studio picture. It's a terrible storm, like many that hit the east coast of the United States around Massachusetts, and in an area that's notorious for many shipwrecks. And this particular night is one of the worst storms they'd seen in years, with waves, so they say 40, 50, 60 feet high. And Bernie Weber and his crew, made up of Richard Livesey and Irvin Mask and Andy Fitzgerald, go out, and these four men on a 35-foot wooden boat go out past this notoriously dangerous bar, the Chatham Bar, out into the open seas. They end up losing their compass, have no way to navigate, and save 32 men off of this oil tanker, T2 tanker, that had actually split in half. And it was one of two tankers that night that had split in half, because these tankers post-war had been built out of really shoddy steel, so they weren't all that healthy to begin with. They managed to save 32 men on a boat that was only really designed to carry, I think it was, 12 or 13 or something. Managed to come back without a compass, and everyone lived save for one guy that died jumping off the boat. But in Coast Guard history, I think it's the largest, or the most successful small boat rescue in their history. We're in Massachusetts nearing winter, and it's cold, and we're out in the water. We're in tanks on a stage, so a version of being out in the water, Hollywood style. And it can get very cold, and the days can get very long. But I'm reminded of the day that Andy Fitzgerald and Bernie's friend Gus came and visited the set, and the complaining stops really fast once you see the real guys and know what they went through, and but it's a nice way, or rather it's good to have the experience somewhat of what they may have gone through, because it just helps with the reality of of playing the situation. Got a sense of structure of a crew, of the hierarchy of it, and but really mostly I think it's just the amount of time the four of us have spent together and getting kind of an ease with working with one another, and being on the 36-500 and actually driving the boat and seeing what it's like to be in choppy seas and to try to navigate a boat against the steel hull of a ship, and what it might have been like for Bernie to try to navigate really difficult waters, knowing when the ocean was rising and falling and when to pull back on the throttle. In this relationship, she is this kind of strong backbone that reminds Bernie, I think, without saying so, how strong he is or can be. And it's her confidence that buoys him, and she has that strength matched with this incredible vulnerability that I think is just ideal and really perfect for this character. And also that kind of warmth, as I mentioned before, that she's the beacon home. She's when all these lights are shining at the end of the film through the fog, marking the beach, it's really, the brightest light is Miriam. That's who Bernie's coming home to. It was great to meet Andy and Gus, and Gus makes me laugh. You can tell that, and I think Bo, who's playing him in the film, is doing a great job of it. You can tell he's kind of he's the live wire, and he loves that. You can tell he loves to have fun. He loves joking around. He loves messing around. And here these guys are, and they're in their 80s now, but you can see the kids in them, and Andy with his sharp as a tack memory. It's great to see, because I didn't get a chance to meet Bernie, but to talk with guys that were best friends with him, and at least for Andy, spent one of the most harrowing nights, challenging nights of their lives together. It was nice for me to get a sense of how their interaction, how their friendship might have been, and also to get my the intuition that I had about what Bernie might have been like, to have that supported by what Andy and Gus said. That was good for me. That's a story of hope and courage and selflessness and all these things that we as storytellers continually tell each other and show the world, or whatever audience we may have, because it's part of what makes us human. And you don't have to dress up in fancy coats or capes or anything to show that. There are actual people in this world that do that. So I think that it is important to give to the world a story that is all about hope and courage, and about people helping others, potentially sacrificing their own lives to help other people, to save other people. I think it's a story that we'll continually tell one another, and this just so happens to be a really great, true story about that. I think there's always something really exciting about seeing men and Mother Nature kind of go at it, because Mother Nature doesn't care who you are or what your name is or where you come from. She just she does her thing. So to see these men go out on this really stormy, really dark, really incredibly terrifying night and do incredible things, I think it's a great story. It's a story about love, and it's a story about pushing through the hardest times, because you have something really bright and wonderful at the end of that really dark tunnel.